Hi, I'm Joe Daniel. Really teach a whole lot more. There's only really two players that this system. Hi, I'm Joe Daniel from JoeDanielFootball.com and the Football Coaching Podcast. This is our third video in our series about the Pistol Power Offense and what has become the Pistol Power Offense system. In the first video, I told you about our power play and how detailed we get and how important it is that we focus on that one play being who we are so that we can get really good at running it. And in fact, we only run two blocking schemes in basically our offense. And we can really focus in on getting those better. And in the first video, I showed you how we coach the power. So then we said we get good at the power, the defense is going to have an answer. They're going to be trying to defend the power and overplay the power. And we have to counter back, which we run the counter play. And the great thing about our counter play was that we don't have to really teach a whole lot more. There's only really two players that change significantly in the play. And so we were able to build from our power to our counter as we build this system. So in video 2, I showed you the counter. And now in video 3, as I told you, eventually when you start hitting the power, then you're hitting the counter. The only way that they can stop both is the defense has to bring a lot of guys down in the box to stop you. So when they start putting 8, 9 guys down in the box, what's the answer going to be? When everybody is 100% focused in on stopping the run, the answer is going to be to throw it. And how are we going to throw it? We're going to throw it off of our power and counter so that it's going to give the same look, the same action, but we're going to get the H-back or the Y, it could be either one, out into a route. We're going to have a deep option as well. We're also going to have the ability for the quarterback to run. This is probably my favorite play as far as throwing the football. My favorite play action for sure. Probably one of my favorite, if not my absolute favorite, play down the goal line. Definitely my favorite pass play down on the goal line. It's a great offensive play to get the ball out, to get teams to stop squeezing you on the run, to take advantage of teams that are overplaying you on the run. So I'm really excited to tell you about that. But before we go into it, I want to tell you about what this is going to mean for your offense when you systemize. When you are running a truly systemized offense, what is this going to mean for you? It means that you come out with an identity. You've got a base. You've got a play that you run, power, okay, for us. We've got that power play. We know we're going to come out. Our kids know we're going to come out on Friday night. We're going to run the power. And we're going to be successful. And we're going to be able to move the football in it. And if we're not, we know that it's because the defense is overplaying it. So we run the counter. So we set up the counter with the power. And we know when they're shutting down both, we're able to go to the power pass. And you build this into your offense. You've got a couple of elements in there. It's maybe not just one sequence or one series or one system that you're running, but you might have two. You don't want to have a whole lot more than that. 2 or 3 would probably be the max that I would go for. But when you're as a play caller, it's so much easier because this is systemized. You're not randomly guessing what might work. One of the biggest problems if you're not running a system is that you're guessing each week. You're throwing in some plays, you're going out there, and you're hoping that they work, and you're hoping that the defense doesn't stop them. If they do stop them, you're hoping that you can find an adjustment that'll fix it. But when you're running a systemized offense, as pretty much any great offense is, you know the answer. Because it's the same test every time. You know the answer. If they stop this, we run this. If they don't stop this, we just keep on running it. If they stop it, we run this. If they stop that too, then we go and we run, option 3, and it's all systemized. And this is so important. So don't skip ahead of all this and go just look at the X's and O's. If you did it on the first video or the second video and you just looked at when I'm drawing plays up on the board, you're missing the point. You really truly are, because the whole point of this is it doesn't matter that it's power or counter or power pass. It matters that we're systemized in our approach. It matters that we have a logical A, B, C, that our kids know that we're confident in what we're doing, that we have answers when the defense stops us. And I think that's the most important thing about putting together this system or any system of offense. So when we put together our Pistol Power Offense system, the idea is that it is a machine, that it is, we run this, they stop it, we run this. They stop that, we run this. And unless they're just flat out more talented than us, we're going to be able to get something going offensively. We're going to be able to find something that can force them to give us what we want, basically, because we know if we start hitting the power pass, they're eventually going to have to loosen up, and we're going to get back to the run, which is where our bread and butter is, where we want to be. We want to be running the football. So in this video, I'm going to show you the power pass. And in the power pass, it's really rounding out the package. We certainly have drop back passing in our system. This isn't the only 3 plays that we run by any means, but we're going to talk about how we work this. And basically what we try to do is in the backfield, it's going to look exactly like power. The quarterback reverses out, the back takes a counter step and comes through, just like power. We want to get the kick out coming hard, and he's going to chip off of that guy, which we'll talk about as we go through. The line's going to all slide opposite the call, just like they were down blocking. We don't pull the guy on power. We've done it in the past where we just told the guys up front, block everything as if it's power, just don't go downfield. We didn't find that was advantageous, so we use a slide protection to the left. It's the same slide protection that we could use in a 3-step drop back game if we wanted to. So you can apply it to more than one aspect of your team, but it's really just a down block left for us. It's very basic, it's very simple in the way that we do it. And so we're building this play off of all of the elements that we've already shown. We got the corner, we got the receivers doing a crack corner where they're coming down the crack and they're running the corner, and it's all going to look to the defense like that play that they've now become obsessed with stopping. And we're going to make it all look, show them the picture, and then pull the ball out of the running back's belly, come around and throw the football. Now I want to emphasize something with how you teach this to your players. They need to see what power looks like, and they need to see what power pass looks like on film. And you need to show them the first 3 steps of power and the first 3 steps of power pass on film, and emphasize to them this needs to look the same. Because you'll see guys, I see our offensive linemen not coming out as hard. We're constantly hammering them because now they're thinking pass, don't go downfield. And we're constantly hammering them. Those first steps, they got to come out. They got to go and make it look like power and really sell it. We'll see the H-back not get out into his route, not chip that defensive end and get out into his route with that same effort that he would and that same body position that he would if he were coming to kick that guy out. We'll see the quarterback sort of get his eyes downfield too fast coming out of his reverse out. We'll see the running back pull up and not carry out his fake, which is so important. And what happens on that is now everybody knows, hey, that guy doesn't have the ball, and all of a sudden they're in coverage. And so we've really got to stress this to these guys that you've got to carry this out. We had a kid playing running back for us, and we were really running the power well. And this was actually off of our power read, but it's the same principle. We don't block the defensive end a lot of the times on power pass. We've fed him so much power and come and kicked him out and kicked him out and kicked him out. And good defensive ends are going to be coming to crash and wrong arm and get up underneath that kick out block. And they're coming down hard and trying to get to the back. We'd run power very successfully, and their team is very disciplined. They had worked power all week. They were ready to stop it. And we actually did this off of a little option, but it's the same principle. It worked on power as well. When he really carried out a great fake and came down, this defensive end was just crushing our running back. I mean, just nailing him and nailing him over and over again, to the point that every time that we called that play, our quarterback told us later that the running back was like, his eyes would get big and he'd just be like, oh man. Because he knew he wasn't getting the ball, and he knew he was getting drilled on it. But every time that he didn't get the ball and he got drilled, we were getting big yardage off of it. So these guys understand that if they do their job, obviously, first of all, if he pulled up, he was just going to get nailed. So he needs to get in there and run hard like he's a running back and take the punishment. But when he did it, I mean, he was selling out for his teammates. And you've got to really stress that we've got to make this look like power in order for power pass to truly be successful. So focus on that in your film sessions. Focus on that in your practice. Don't just make it another play. Make sure that they understand how this all packages together. Make sure that they understand how power and counter and power pass all package together, and that they're a part of your play calling and of your system. They understand your system. They don't have to understand everything about it, but they have to know that each job truly needs to look the same so that we get the effect that we need. So now we've talked about that, let's go ahead and go to the board and I'll show you how we run the power pass. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the power pass, how we're going to set this up. we've got our formation drawn up here against a 4-2-5 or 4-4, whatever you want to call it. Defense, pretty basic, nothing special here. Now, first of all, up front, everybody is going to be responsible for the gap away from the play. So they know when they hear power pass right, this is our call system for it. You can do it however you want. You can talk to the line or you can talk to the backfield. Our line, you know, these guys are pretty committed. They'll work through anything. So we say power pass right, they know that means slide left. And that's the way we block all of our play actions. So they're all going to be sliding left, but we want it to be aggressive. It's not going to be just a slide step. They're going to step hard. So he's going to step hard to that end, especially if they've got a guy in their gap. They're going to step hard to that guy and get on him and look to show some hard movement here. Couple different ways that we can handle this. One is that we'll have the Y do the same thing. He'll be in the same slide left as everyone else. We wristband our guys, so when we want to change this, we just change what it says on his wristband. But you could change it from week to week or change it based on what you need. But base way of teaching this, everybody is slide left. We're going to motion our H just like we would on power. So we've got all these guys now thinking, all right, it's power, it's power. Everybody's eyes are looking at this H-back. They're expecting him to kick out that defensive end, and they're expecting him to run the power. So we've got a slide left. We've got the H-back on the snap of the ball. He is going to come, and his aiming point now, remember his kick out was on the inside number of that defensive end. That's where we wanted to get him, take care of that upfield shoulder. His aiming point now is on the outside number, and he's just going to chip him and release into the flat. So he's going to come, bang that outside number, chip him, and release into the flat. Now, we've taught this a couple of different ways. We've done it as a 4-yard shoot route. We've also taught it deeper, more like an 8 to 12. So it depends. I think if you get him deeper and you can draw the attention of the strong safety, that will let your quarterback maybe have some room to run. But we also like to run it shorter because if that strong safety starts to bite up, what we tell him is, if you get to the numbers out here, wheel it. So if he gets out to the numbers, he's going to wheel it. And sometimes you'll get the strong safety sitting short, kind of trying to halfway play both routes, or both the quarterback and that short route, and you'll just dump it over top of him for a nice gain. So he's going to chip and work out into the flat. And I want him to hammer that chip pretty good. I want to give him a shot on him, make him feel like he's getting blocked. He's going to be coming down hard because that's what he's been seeing all night. Quarterback is going to reverse pivot. R is going to counter step just like they always do. And our R is going to come hard, running the football up into the line. If he gets tackled, he gets tackled. That's great. We want him to get tackled. If he gets through here, maybe people realize, a little bit, tell him to kind of come out here and just find an opening somewhere. He's caught the ball more times than we probably ever expected him to, because everything turns into a scramble drill, as it often does in high school. And this guy just kind of sits down. Everybody loses track of him. He didn't get the ball. Everybody stopped paying attention to him. And he just kind of sits down out there and finds a window. Quarterback reverse pivots, seats the ball, pulls it, and then he pushes for depth. Very important, because we know that this defensive end is going to be coming. Remember, we're not blocking him, so he's going to be coming, and we've got to get depth to get around him. So there's got to be enough depth to get around him. If your quarterback comes at a path straight down towards the line of scrimmage coming out of that fake, there's a very good chance that he's going to let that defensive end play him both ways. But as long as that defensive end thinks for a split second that this is power, he's going to step and hesitate, and your quarterback, if he pushes for depth, push for 3 yards of depth, he should be getting back to 8 yards behind the line. When we start at 4.5, he should be pushing to 7.5, 8 yards coming out of that, getting depth off of that so that he gets around that defensive end. If he doesn't push for depth, he won't get around that defensive end. He needs to get his eyes up. We've got the Z running a crack corner. He's going to come down like he's cracking the safety. It's really important these guys sell this for 3 to 5 steps, coming down really hard like they're going to crack on the safety. Now, if they aren't cracking during the power, then this won't be as effective. So if they aren't coming down and cracking during the power, and I left the corner out here, if they aren't coming down there and cracking for real, this won't be as important. Because what the corner knows is if he's seeing this guy come down and crack his safety 3 or 4 times, that safety's mad now. That safety's turning around and going, why aren't you yelling crack? Why aren't you helping me out? And now you get the corner a little bit more aggressive to come crack replace against a good team. So about 3 to 5 steps, come down and really sell the crack, get the corner's eyes looking and thinking it's run, and then drive for the corner, 22 yards deep. Okay, drive for the front pylon. If you're outside of the red zone, if you're inside of the red zone, drive for the back pylon back there. Okay, so we've got basically a 2-person route over here. We've got the X running a backside post on this. Okay, a lot of times they'll come over too fast. They'll get all the way over here. I don't want them to get over there too fast. He's a backside post. That's a box call. Okay, what we call a box call is if we see that nobody's defending this, the free safety is flying down on the run or flying over on the crack corner, and this route has been open a couple of times when we run the power pass, we'll tell the quarterback, power pass right, check the post. Okay, check the post. We can just say check, power pass right, check, and make a little tag there. And he knows that means I'm going to check that post route because they haven't been covering it. He's not just going to automatically throw it, but he's going to come out of his fake, and he's going to check that post first. Normally we check deep to short, and if neither one's there, 1 to 2 to run. If it turns into a scramble drill, there's no room to run. He can look for here. We don't ever want to come back to the backside post. We don't really want to come back to that, but in a scramble drill, that guy wants to find and get in the lane. He won't come all the way back to the middle. This guy will work his way out and find a way to get in the quarterback's lane, just like you do on any scramble drill. He's not a primary in this route. It's just something that's a benefit if he understands what a scramble drill is, if he understands how that works, and your quarterback can't find anywhere to go. But he's basically checking 1 to 2, green grass, run it. If they've taken away the shoot, and if they've taken away the crack corner, and they take away the shoot, he should have room to run and get you a decent gain, 3-4 yards, get himself out of bounds, whatever he needs to do to keep himself safe, because he's your quarterback, and he's probably the only one that you have. So that's the first way that we run the power pass, and that's the basic way of teaching it. There are a couple of other things that we'll do, though. So a second adjustment that we can make to the power pass is if this defensive end is really tough, really good athlete, really not giving us what we want, if he's going to be coming down and does have the ability, a really good athlete out here that can really step down and then get on his horse and give some problems to your quarterback, we will actually have the H-back come out, attack that outside shoulder, and then seal him off. So he'll attack the outside number and seal him off. This is an adjustment that we use for a really good defensive end. We'll have the Y come down like he's doing his block back on the will linebacker like he normally does, his down block, and then he's going to run what is basically a drag route looking for that intermediate 8-yard route. Okay, he's looking to get 8 to 12 out here. He's running from 8. Aiming point is 12 yards sidelines to get out there. And again, you've got your deep to middle and then run it. So you've got an option there where you can get the Y to be the guy that's out in the route and just swap the H and the Y's responsibility. Another thing we could do is we could run it the other way. We do basically the exact same thing. You get more of a traditional waggle concept where we would run the power pass away from the tight end, which we can run power that way as well, and have the tight end run the drag route. We get the crack corner, the drag, and then we'd have more of a traditional. We could also leak the H out if we want to on that side. So different ways that you can run it. That way you get a 3-level. Just some different things that you can do with the power pass. You can change up the routes. We've done it with a twins on this side where we've had the X receiver over here and the Y over there and run a scissors concept with them. So just some different things. You can get as varied as you want as far as your routes go, as long as what matters ultimately in all of this is that you're running your system, everything looks the same, your power, your counter, and then this picture is looking the same to this defense. As long as you're doing that, you're getting these eyes looking for the power or for the counter. You can open up your power pass, and then you can work some different route concepts to give the defense some troubles. So that's the power pass, and that's our pistol power offense system, at least the core set of it, the core series in it, where we run the power, the counter, and the power pass. And it gives us 3 options. You take away the power, we're gonna have the counter. You squeeze the box with 9 guys, we're gonna have the power pass. So we know what our options are gonna be, where we're headed the next thing. Now, there's a lot more that goes into it. Your kids have got to execute. You got to have your kids motivated. You got to have your kids working hard in the weight room in the off season. You've got to be able to match up physically with the team that you're playing. It's not a foolproof system, but it's a system that you can actually get your kids to trust in, get your kids to understand. And as long as they are doing those things, as long as you're doing those things, you keep it simple, your kids play faster, you win more football games. And that's what it's all about. That's what JDanielFootball.com is all about. That's what the Pistol Power Offense system is all about. And in a few days, I'm going to tell you about how you can get access to the entire system, which includes our zone runs as well as our power package. We've got the power package, we've got our zone package, we've got a full drop back pass. And as I told you, we've incorporated everything together. So we've got these 2 blocking schemes for the entire deal. And everything from, our zone running game is tied into our drop back pass protection. Our protection is tied into our routes. Our routes are tied into our quarterback. They're tied back into each other. The quarterback's reads all depend on the protection. I mean, it's all one system, but really, really simple for each individual player. It's complex in the way that it's tied together, but in the way that we actually run it, in the way that your players will understand it, it's really simple to get. And I'm going to tell you about that system in just a few days. Now, in the meantime, I want you to go down in the comments. I want you to tell me how your offense is systemized, or if it's not, how you want to or are going to make your offense into a better system for the 2015 season. What can you do to improve the systemization of your offense? I want you to go down there in the comments. Tell me how you're going to systemize your offense for the 2015 season. And in a few days, I'm going to send you an email where I'll tell you all about the Pistol Power Offense system and how you can get enrolled in the course that'll teach you the entire system from start to finish, if that's what you want to do with your football program to win more football games in 2015. So be on the lookout for that. Go down in the comments. Tell me how you're going to systemize your offense for 2015.